Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we're going to talk about the real reason why JC Jane shockingly won the WWE NXT Women's Championship. She defeated Stephanie Vakir. Everybody was quite shocked about this. However, there is some news that everybody needs to know. Also, we're going to talk about some great positive news for the almighty AEW wrestling promotion. And yes, we are going to talk about a major change to Evolution 2. WWE may have not formally announced this, but if you're a fan of wrestling outside of WWE, then you are going to love this particular story, and it's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget, click that subscribe button. You'd never want to miss a video on this channel. We're going to kick things off with WWE Evolution 2. This is a topic that's being spoken about from WrestleVotes, and basically, during a Q&A session, WrestleVotes was asked whether or not TNA Knockouts and AAA talent will appear at Evolution 2 and if there would be any cross-promotion involved. However, WrestleVotes responded and noted that any available talent not signed to a few specific companies would be asked to work the show if they are interested. So WWE is looking to stack the event as much as possible. Obviously, this is a very big deal for a variety of reasons. Let me explain why. If you guys don't know, WWE is counter-programming AEW All In on AEW's biggest weekend. AEW has Saturday night's main event, Evolution, and of course, Great American Bash for NXT. Now, with that being said, not only is All In taking place on the same weekend, but on the same night at the same time, guess what is competing with WWE head-to-head Evolution? Beyonce. Beyonce, clearly one of the biggest pop stars, singers in the world. I don't like her music. I don't listen to her music, but I understand that Beyonce is very, very famous, and more than likely, not everybody is going to go to a wrestling show over Beyonce, right? I think it's very clear if somebody likes Beyonce and they like wrestling, it's very likely that they're probably going to choose to watch Beyonce and pay for tickets to go to a Beyonce concert. So maybe WWE didn't plan this as well as they should have. I'm not really sure. We'll see if the Beyonce concert has any sort of impact on Evolution. However, it is interesting that WWE is willing to stack the deck with this event, utilizing women from other promotions. Now, I think this is actually a great change, and I would like WWE to brand Evolution as a multi-promotional event. Now, I don't know if that includes Tessa Blanchard, Masha Slamovich, Ash by Elegance. I don't know if that includes Lahidra. I don't know who WWE will put into this match or into this card, but I do like the idea of them stacking the deck. And it actually has nothing to do with competition with AEW. It actually has nothing to do with that. The fact that WWE is doing an all-women's pay-per-view, if you want to really support women's wrestling, this would be a great time to include women from other promotions on this show. It is rumored that they are expected to have 7 to 8 matches on this card. And yes, we spoke about it yesterday, the rumors of Bayley versus Becky. But what if WWE does a battle royal? In this battle royal, you got talent from NXT, Raw, SmackDown, AAA, Marigold, and of course TNA. I just think that adds a little bit of fluff. That makes it a little bit bigger of a deal. And then, of course, you could actually promote this as a multi-promotional event. That brings us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. AEW, some really good news after Double or Nothing. The company is starting to see some really good morale changes, which is very nice to hear because typically, you guys will say what you want about me, but I feel like more often than not, we often hear about AEW morale being down. And if you've watched my channel long enough, this was a very common thing for me to cover when it happened in WWE. And it's something I've always been interested in because we don't know what the backstage atmosphere is truly like for any wrestling company. So with WWE, when they would have really, really bad morale, we would talk about it. And one of the big talking points is, I can't imagine walking into work every day, working a job I absolutely do not like. And for a lot of people, it seemed like that was the case for people in WWE. And then for a while, when you would look at reports, it kind of sounded like that was becoming a thing with AEW. So now it comes out, there's a new report. According to PWInsider.com, they said they spoke to a number of talents over the last 48 hours, and the event was perceived very positively backstage. Basically, a lot of people in the company felt like Double or Nothing was one of the best top to bottom presentations from the company in some time. And another thing was a lot of people really loved the positive atmosphere of Arizona. The morale seems to be up, which is good. Like, if you guys want AEW to succeed, if you want the wrestling industry to be healthy, you should want the talent to be happy in the companies that they're in. We know it's inevitable. People will leave WWE and go to AEW. People will leave AEW and go to WWE. But if you can have really good morale, then I think you are able to secure people's loyalty. So, for example, Willow Nightingale re-signed with the company, and we spoke about that a couple days ago. Well, yeah, booking is part of it, right? And how you're presented is part of it. And, of course, money is part of it. But if you're happy with a company, you are not going to wait till your contract is up to even consider possibly leaving. So you lock down Willow, that's a sign of morale being good. You have a good event, people are getting excited. Okay, it feels like things are taking off again. That is very good. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. What is the real reason why JC Jane won the championship? A lot of people were disappointed because Jordan Grace didn't beat Stephanie Vakir. A lot of people are disappointed because for a while, it just seemed like Stephanie Vakir was going to hold the belt. Well, it's very, very clear, guys. WWE has a couple things happening here. You need to know what's going on. WWE is pressing the reset button within the women's division of NXT. This includes call-ups. Now, we don't know everybody who's getting called up, but currently Corey Hayes of PWN has come out and reported that Stephanie Vakir is expected to move up to the WWE Raw show. Also, that explains why Jordan Grace didn't win, because Jordan Grace is reportedly moving to SmackDown. So WWE decided to put the belt on somebody who is considered a vet, who is not necessarily ready for the main roster call-up, but they trust her enough to hold it down as champion in NXT. JC Jane is somebody who is very talented, but I don't think JC Jane definitely hasn't been given that level of attention to be the women's champion. And the fact that nobody saw it coming, I think, adds that surprise element. Also, we talked about it a week or two ago, but Lola Vice is being expected to move up to WWE SmackDown as well. So you already have all these call-ups happening. You have to have a safe and reliable champion to hold it down in the meantime, because now WWE NXT is going to introduce more and more talent. So Carmen Petrovich, Jada Parker, Kendall Gray, some of these talents that maybe you don't see all the time, but they are around. Now they're going to be given the opportunity to step up, which I think is the right call. Now, as far as JC Jane goes, her win was quite shocking, and they justified it through booking as to, how she beat Stephanie Vakir. But this is going to be a big challenge, and hopefully she steps up and kills it. I think she's a wonderful talent. She was really good as part of Toxic Attraction, and, she is a vet, but I do think she might be a reliable choice while WWE figures out who's moving up and who's staying put. And who knows, maybe this won't be a long title reign either. WWE is constantly having an influx of talent, but, this allows for opportunities like Zarya and some other talent to finally get a little bit of shine and some possibilities. And it just seems like every few years, WWE presses that reset button. This is that reset button. So at one point, Mandy Rose was the champion, and that was because of the fact that she was a reliable champion to have. So really interesting choice, but I think that's pretty much going to sum it up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.